Have you ever noticed how polite we are with outsiders? A boss yells at us and we nod. Yes, sir, I'll look into it. A doctor dismisses our concern and we smile. Thank you, doc. A business partner delays a payment and we say, don't worry, it's fine, we'll manage. But then, one word from our spouse, one sigh from a child, one repeated story from a parent, and suddenly we snap. Why do we give our best behavior to strangers and our worst moods to the ones who matter most? That's what we are diving into today. And by the end, I want you to feel a shift so deep that the next time you are about to snap at home, you will pause and you will choose differently. Pillar 1. The paradox of politeness. I first noticed this pattern in my swimming days. Inside the pool, discipline ruled my life. Coaches screamed, teammates pushed, and no matter how much pain I felt, I stayed silent. Respect was automatic. I never snapped back. I took the pressure with patience. But at home, if my mother asked me to do something after a long day of training, I would roll my eyes, maybe even slam a door. The pool got my respect, home got my exhaustion. Years later, working in television, the same thing happened. When we launched 6 TV channels, the pressure was insane. Deadlines that looked impossible, bosses who demanded the world, and yet in those rooms, I was calm. I motivated my team, I was the diplomat. But back home, if dinner was not ready or if someone interrupted me when I was tired, my patience would vanish. And I realized this is the paradox of politeness. With outsiders, we guard our words because we fear judgment. But with loved ones, we drop the mask because we believe they'll never leave me. Psychologists call this the safe target phenomenon. We discharge our frustration on the people who are safest. But while it feels safe, it is not fair. And over time, it is destructive. Pillar 2. The hidden cost. I'll never forget this moment. One evening, years after my divorce, I was sitting alone in my living room. Silence all around me. And I thought, love does not end because one big fight. It ends slowly. One sharp word at a time. One impatient sigh at a time. Every snap, every careless dismissal, every storm at home leaves an imprint. And over time, it chips away at intimacy and safety. Your partner starts to feel unappreciated. Your child feels like nothing they do is good enough. Your parents feel like they are a burden. Even your helper, who sees the rawest version of you, feels invisible. And here's the hardest truth. The people who love us the most often end up carrying the weight of our unprocessed stress. Research on emotional safety in relationships shows something powerful. Trust is not built by grand gestures, it's built in micro moments of kindness and patience. And it's destroyed by micro moments of neglect. A woman I once coached told me, I don't remember the fancy gifts my husband gave me, but I remember every time he lost patience when I was simply trying to talk. That's when I felt unseen. The small things are never small. They are the difference between a home that feels like a sanctuary and a home that feels like a battlefield. Pillar 3. The reset shift. So, how do we change this? How do we stop hurting the ones we love most? Step 1. Awareness. Start catching yourself. Ask, why am I more polite to my colleagues on email than to my own child at the dinner table? Awareness is the first reset. Step 2. Reverse the lens. This one has saved me countless times. When I feel triggered at home, I imagine, what if my boss said this? Or my client? If I would stay calm in that situation, then why should I let myself lose control at home? Try it. It's a game changer. Step 3. Micro acts of grace. Say please and thank you more often at home than you do outside. Smile when your partner walks into the room. Put your phone down when your child is talking. These courtesies may seem small, but at home they are the oxygen of love. Step 4. Rebuild with rituals. Make love intentional. Walks with your spouse. Tea with your parents. 5 minutes of undistracted listening with your child. A word of gratitude to your helper. Because in the end, these rituals are what people remember. Not the paychecks, not the deadlines, not the trophies, but the way you made them feel daily. When I look back at my own journey, I don't remember the noise of the newsroom or the stress of the deadlines. I remember the few rare evenings when, despite the chaos, I made time to sit with my loved ones, listen, and just be there. And I regret the many times I did not. That's when I understood. Success outside means nothing if your home does not feel like love. So let me ask you, are you saving your best manners for strangers and your worst moods for family? If yes, you're not alone. We all do it. But today I'm asking you to flip it. The real measure of your love is not how charming you are in a meeting. It is how kind you are when your parents repeat the same story again. It's not how disciplined you are in the gym. It is how patient you are when your child makes a mistake. It's not how polite you are to the waiter at a restaurant. It's how respectful you are to the helper who serves you every day. If you want to heal your home, if you want to deepen your bonds, if you want peace where it matters most, start giving your best behavior not outside but inside. Because one day, all the applause, the deals, the followers, the wins, they will fade. What will remain is the love you nurtured or the love you neglected. So let's stop being storms at home and saints outside. Let's choose patience where it matters most. Because home is where we practice love, and love is where we are truly tested. And when we get this right, we finally return to the place we were always meant to be. Welcome home.